Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into a secret weapon that professionals use in pretty much every industry: project control. We're going to pull back the curtain on how they keep these massive, complex projects from going completely off the rails. So let's jump right in. You've got to wonder, why does it seem like every other project runs late or just blows through its budget? It doesn't matter if you're building an app or building a skyscraper. We've all seen it happen. You get that sinking feeling when you realize, oh man, we are behind schedule, or wow, we are burning through cash way too fast. So why does this keep happening? Well, it turns out there's an entire professional discipline designed to stop exactly that. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to look at the classic reasons projects go wrong. Then, we'll get into the system that's designed to fix it all, the project control system and its simple 4-step cycle. After that, we'll dive into a seriously powerful tool called earned value analysis, and finally, we'll look at the tech that makes the whole thing possible. Okay, so let's start at square one. Projects are, well, they're complicated beasts, right? There's always some uncertainty, they rely on a ton of communication, and there are a million moving parts. The second any of that starts to wobble, you get those classic symptoms. Costs start creeping up, and deadlines start slipping. Without a system to guide you, you're not just flying blind, you're flying straight into a storm. And that's where this whole idea of a control system comes in. Look, it's not just about watching the numbers. A true control system is a formal process for spotting exactly where you've strayed from your original plan and, this is the most important part, figuring out how to get back on track. It is the professional's answer to project chaos.
So, what does a system like this actually look like? Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a GPS for your project. I mean, you wouldn't set off on a cross-country road trip without a map or GPS, right? So why would you try to tackle a huge, expensive project without one? It has 3 core jobs that work just like that GPS app on your phone.
First up, you've got monitoring. This is super simple. It's just collecting the data. It's your GPS constantly pinging the satellite asking, where are we? In project speak, this means you're tracking how much time has passed, how much money you've spent, and what tasks are actually done. You're just getting the facts on the ground. Where are we right now?
Okay, so you've got your current location. What's next? Well, that brings us to evaluation. Your GPS takes your coordinates and lays them over the routed plan for you. That's evaluation. You take the data you just collected, your actual progress, and you compare it against the original plan. Are we where we thought we'd be by now? And finally, we have controlling. This is the action step. This is the magic. Your GPS sees a huge traffic jam up ahead, and before you even hit the brakes, it's already found you a detour. That's control. Based on your evaluation, you make a decision. Maybe you're falling behind, so you authorize some overtime, or you're spending too much, so you find a way to cut costs. The point is, you're not just a passenger watching the project crash. You are actively steering it back onto the road. So, how does this project GPS actually do its thing? It runs on a really simple, repeatable process called the control cycle. You can think of this as the engine that's constantly running under the hood, making sure you're always heading in the right direction. It's a simple but really powerful 4-step loop. Step 1, you set your standards. This is your plan, your roadmap. What are we going to do, when are we going to do it by, and what's the budget? Step 2, you measure what's actually happening. Step 3, you compare the plan to reality to see if there's a gap. And step 4, if that gap is a problem, you take corrective action to fix it. And then you just do it all over again. It's this continuous loop of plan, measure, compare, act that lets a project stay on track no matter what surprises pop up.
All right, now we get to the really cool stuff. For a lot of people, this is the project manager's superpower. It's called earned value analysis, or EVA for short. This is the tool that gives you this incredible, crystal clear picture of how your project is really doing. At its core, EVA is all about answering one brilliant question. Are we getting the value we planned for the time and money we've spent so far? See, it's not just about asking how much money is gone. It's about asking, what did we actually get for the money we spent? That's a huge difference.
Now, to make this work, you only need 3 little numbers. There's planned value, or PV. That's just the budget for the work you plan to get done. Then there's earned value, or EV. That's the budget for the work you've actually gotten done. And the third piece is simple: actual cost, or AC, which is just what it sounds like, how much money you've really spent. With just those 3 numbers, we can see everything. Let's look at an example. Okay, let's make this real. Imagine a straightforward construction job. We need to lay 125 cubic meters of concrete.
The whole thing should take 10 days and cost about 1.25 million rupees. So we decide to check in on day 3. So far, the team has laid 40 cubic meters of concrete, and they've spent 375,000 rupees. The big question is, are we on track?
Let's run the numbers. First, let's look at the cash by calculating something called cost variance. All we do is take our earned value and subtract our actual cost. The value of the 40 cubic meters we poured, our earned value, is 400,000 rupees. We spent 375,000, so the result is a positive 25,000. That is fantastic news. It means we're under budget.
Okay, so the money looks good, but what about our schedule? For that, we use the Schedule Performance Index. We just divide our earned value by our planned value. So our earned value is 400,000 rupees. The value of the work we planned to have done by day 3 was 375,000 rupees. That gives us an index of 1.06. With this number, anything over 1 is a win, so 1.06 tells us we are actually ahead of schedule.
And, when you see it on a chart like this, it just clicks. That earned value bar, the real value of the work we did, is the tallest one. It's higher than what we planned to do, and it's higher than what we actually spent. In one single snapshot, we know this project is healthy. It's under budget and ahead of schedule. That right there is the power of EVA.
So you might be thinking, how on earth does a manager keep track of all these numbers and schedules, especially on a huge, complicated project? Well, that's where the project's nervous system comes into play.
It's officially called a Project Management Information System, or PMIS. Think of this as the project's brain, or its central command hub. It's the system that pulls all the data, from costs to schedules to progress reports, into one place, so managers can actually plan, monitor, and control the whole shebang.
And you have definitely seen these before, or at least heard of them. All this software, things like Microsoft Project, Monday.com, Rike, Basecamp, they're all different flavors of a PMIS. They're the tools that automate that control cycle we talked about and make doing complex stuff like earned value analysis not just possible, but pretty much routine.
So there you have it. Keeping a project on track isn't magic. It's a disciplined system of monitoring where you are, evaluating it against your plan, and then acting. It's like a GPS for getting things done, powered by a constant feedback loop and guided by really smart tools like EVA. And that leaves me with one final question for you. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, planning a wedding, or just trying to finish a massive report for work, what project in your own life could use a little more control?